Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. My name is Irina. I'm the host here, and my guest today is Tatsiana Matsiuk, coming to us from UK. Welcome.
Hello, Irina. Nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
So you live in UK, but you're not originally from there. Where did you learn how to knit? Tell me like your fiber story.
Okay. Yes, I'm originally not from UK. I came from Belarus about 19 years ago, and I learned knitting as a child. My very first experience was pretty short. It was my grandma who showed me knit stitches when I was around probably 9 or 10 years. Then a bit later, my mom showed me how to cast on stitches and how to purl. And at this point, I thought it looks very complicated. And I think I finished with few samples and it was it. But both my mom and grandma, they were great knitters. And my mom was knitting for whole family. I've got a younger sister. So winters in Belarus were really cold and snowy. And I think it was not possible to buy proper sweaters and hats and even trousers suitable for those winters. And my mom was knitting for the whole family. And when we got older, I guess it was harder and harder to knit for the whole family. And one day she said, if you want new sweater, you can try to knit one for yourself. I think I was around 12, something like this. And my mom showed me basics and explained the construction of sweater. And for example, how much stitches should go for like neck shaping, for shoulder shaping, like construction, like how to calculate how many stitches I need. She gave me pretty good yarn. As far as I remember, it was recycled yarn from my grandma's sweater, which she made for herself but didn't have chance to wear. So it took me quite a long time to do my swatches because I didn't go for simple design. I decided to combine a few stitches and it was pretty hard. I remember that I was trying and trying and trying, then I get rid of one stitch. Made the design a bit easier. And I think it took me quite a long time to make the first garment. And my mom was very good in all techniques. And I think my first design and my first garment was pretty complicated. For example, for neck finishing, she had only one style. Like I have to knit neck band and then attach it, not like pick up stitches
Right.
and knit them. No, it was something like made details and then sew the sweater. So it was pretty difficult and pretty long project.
When I'm thinking about like former Soviet Union and like Belarus as part of that, some places used to have home economic classes where they would teach knitting. In my school, they didn't teach the knitting. We only learned how to do basic sewing. Did you have anything in school?
I think we had pretty the same. We were doing a lot of sewing, and by the end of some years, we had replacement teacher who was good at knitting. And I remember she showed something, but at this point, I already knew how to knit. And for me, it was okay. But I remember that some girls were really struggling with it. But a few girls in the class were happy and we like knitted our sweaters or some bigger projects.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it's interesting to me that you basically, like a lot of knitters, first knit other people's patterns and they learn how to knit. And then at some point they start modifying the patterns. And then at some point they have enough bravery to like step into the world of design. You skipped all of these steps and you designed your very first sweater, like from get-go, basically. Did you continue that way? Did you learn how to read patterns? Did you knit from other people's patterns? Or was it always your designs?
First of all, when I started knitting, I think my mom had just one stitch book and a few magazines which were probably in German language.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't follow patterns. Also, all designs were for adults. I was a child. It was not possible. And then, of course, I learned how to read charts. I find this skills is very, very important. It's like language, you know, because every stitch is a symbol, so it helps. Actually, my first experience with reading charts was very funny because I found some of those magazines in German language. I saw a chart. I remember that my mom explained me that every symbol should be knitted this way. Yeah, I thought, okay, probably I can do it. So it was simple swatch for lace stitch. And I assumed that every row was shown on this chart. And I started knit like first row, this is row 1, second row, this is row 2, and I knitted them in a pattern like I read this chart. I finished up with something really, really strange. When my mom came here, I said, look, I followed this chart. I've got here something totally different from the picture. And only after that, my mom explained me that no, wrong side rows didn't show on this chart. You have to read, or at least, you know, numbers on the chart.
Right.
So after this experience, I started reading charts more properly. But if we're talking about patterns, I think I never followed pattern as written. I had later I had some of those beautiful magazines with really pretty models, but I had no chance, for example, to buy similar yarn.
Right.
Nothing similar like in the pattern, not color-wise, not texture-wise. Actually, I think at this stage, I didn't know anything about yarn weight. I had experience like, you know, you've got yarn, you've got needles, you make a swatch, you like this fabric or you don't like it. If you don't like it, you simply change needles and try it again.
Right.
Bigger needles, smaller needles. As soon as you like the fabric, you just do your calculations and follow the stitch.
Well, now you have like over 200 patterns published. Tell me about that first pattern that you officially published. What was the process like? How did you find pattern writing?
I found it was complicated because if we're talking about pattern writing, you need to be on side of person who is going to follow your pattern. So you need describe everything as better as possible and put as many details as you can, you know, because I didn't know probably that actually I assumed that some techniques are clear or like cast on, follows this chart, and you know, but in reality everybody has different experience, knowledge, and view, and probably even read your pattern differently. I think my very first pattern, it was vest, which I made for myself and then decided just to try. It was very simple. I think it was sold very few times. And a bit later, I decided to start with children children and baby needs. It was time when I was pregnant with my first child, and I had a plan to make for her. I didn't know it was a girl at this point, but I had a plan to make some like baby blanket, cardigan, baby hat. And I started with baby blanket, and it was quite a job because the stitches that I used, I made up them. It was something like I made a drawing, and then I started to make a chart. Because I did not use any knitting software at this point, it was quite complicated, and it took me quite a few efforts, like change the picture so it looks beautiful on knitted fabric.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was quite difficult.
Your children, you use them as your models, and you make
Yes.
you make designs basically for the entire family. And I remember my first conversation with you, actually. I saw a picture of your daughter wearing, it was some like poncho or something like flowy coat kind of thing. And I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, like I want that for myself. Forget about the kids. Like I want that in adult size and I would make it. Do you get a lot of that? Like when you make something designed for a child that adults would comment, like, does it come in adult sizes? I would love that.
Yes, quite a few designs which were created for kids. Then if you look through my patterns, you can see that some of them repeated as adult. I think you're talking about Temptation Poncho.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of my most popular designs. Yeah. I probably a year later I created adult version because this pattern started to be sold in Marie Maxim knitting kits, and it was demand for adult version. Actually, this pattern, I think it was one of the most difficult to create because for different sizes, I needed to put different quantity of cables and like repeats of cables, and finishing on the top as well. You need to make it looks pretty. So I calculated it's for every single size, and I created charts for every single size, and then wrote row by row instructions for every single size. So it was I think it's one of the longest and most difficult patterns. Yeah.
Well, when you come up with the idea for a pattern, how does it happen? Like, do you think like, oh, my daughter needs another hat and I saw this cable and I'm gonna use this cable? Or like, what's your thinking process? Do you think about, I have a lot of people who love cables, or I have a lot of people who just prefer something simple? How much into consideration do you put your audience versus what you really want to make?
It's 50-50, because sometimes I feel that my children grow and they need something new. Definitely not hard, because we've got so many hats. It's easiest and quickest project, so no. If we're talking about like cardigans, ponchos, yes, at some point I think they need new cardigan or sweater or poncho, and yes, and I think what should I make next? Sometimes I check what's popular and what's demand from my audience, and then I design something maybe similar from what I already got. Maybe I change yarn, like from very thin to very thick or something in the middle. Sometimes I'm just think that I want to use or try some technique, or I've got some yarn which I just want to make something. So, or I see something in shop, in Pinterest and Instagram from other designers, for example, and I think maybe I can do something a bit different. I mean, my view on any model.
Right.
Yeah, so it's different approach in every single case.
Well, how do you manage it all? Because you have 3 kids and they're young kids. So that takes a lot of time and you're very busy knitting. How do you manage it all?
Sometimes I feel I don't manage. I've got the feeling that I need every free moment. I write patterns quite often in the evening when everybody is sleeping, because I'm not this early person. I like working at night, and when they're all at school now, so I have some time to do my like daily job, like cooking and cleaning and food shopping. So, and then every other moment I try to knit or design, and there's always something in my head that, yeah.
Do you have a diary of design ideas? Like, do you write down what ideas pop to your mind for future design?
I try to do this, but I'm not good at planning and making notes, and I'm not good at drawing. So I've got sketches everywhere. I try to use some notebook to draw and write down, but no, it doesn't work. And also my plans change quite often because new ideas come. For example, if I'm not in time for season to publish something new, and I understand that no, I wouldn't be able to write the pattern, finish sample, plus test knit it. So I need, in this case, I need to think which ideas I should go for, and maybe some ideas I need to leave for later, or maybe don't follow them at all. So it's totally different.
Are you ever stressed by knitting, stressed by the deadlines of design projects?
Sometimes, especially if we're talking about collaboration with some indie dyers, or if we're talking about young companies, I take those responsibilities very seriously. And in this case, I put all my current projects a bit aside and try to do my best to complete those collaborations as fast as I can. So in this case, yes, it's a bit stressed. But if you're talking about my designs, which I'm making just by myself, I can be a bit more flexible and give myself a bit more time to complete and then publish. Yeah.
Well, when you mentioned that your mom was knitting for the whole family, basically out of necessity, because back then it was almost impossible to buy ready-made sweaters or ready-made hat in stores. And now we're living in the time of fast fashion where you can go to the store and buy clothes for almost no money. What's your feeling towards knitting? Like, did it become an art? Did it become something for relaxation? Do you see necessity in knitting?
Maybe it become more like art now, but at the same time, if we're talking about slow fashion, we have to think about quality. The quality of these items is not so high as you can knit for yourself. Like you buy better quality yarn, you use like wool or cotton rather than synthetic. And yeah, maybe it's necessary because you feel different in this knitwear.
You need a lot of things for your kids. Is it hard to instill that appreciation for handmade items. So do you think because they see you knit, they grow to appreciate it just because they see how long it takes to make something?
I think it depends from a child because I've got two girls and they are totally different. My smaller one, she can come and say, "Oh, I need new red hat." She wouldn't bother how much time you need to make this hat. And recently she said to me, "Last summer, you promised me a new knitted top. You didn't make one." Okay, but I made for you new summer cardigan. I made you a dress and it was something else. And I've got older one who I need to knit for and son as well. So I just can't do this, but no, my older one, she understands. She's quite crafty girl. She's not patient with knitting. I try to teach her, but there are moments when she's like really wants to do something like me and trying hard to knit something to repeat me, but she's better at drawing. But smaller one, she's like, yeah, just make something for me.
Do you find time to treat yourself for some needs that you like? Because with three kids, it's tough to find time for.
Actually, when I knit for myself, I knit what I want. I would say I knit what I want. And in this case, I use better yarn, like more expensive, like from better fiber, and it's from hand dyed. Actually, I never use hand dyed yarn for children needs because they grow way too fast.
Right.
On everyday life, they wear school uniform, and all those knitting items just mostly left in wardrobes. They wear hats, maybe scarves and mitts, but if you're talking about sweaters, cardigans, their life is really short. Luckily, I've got two girls, so I can knit for older one. Then she passes this to my smaller. But for my boy, I've got only one boy, and he grows.
Right.
Yeah, so I use like more budget-friendly yarn for them and treat myself with better yarn. Yeah,
Well,
I enjoy this process. Yeah.
another thing you mentioned that back in Belarus, it was harder to find good quality yarn. It was like very appreciated to have a good quality yarn because majority of things in the store were not. How did your yarn stash changed over the years? Like, what does it look like now?
Actually, if you're talking back to Belarus, I didn't have a yarn stash. It was like I buy yarn I needed. So it was like one project stash, I would say.
Right.
Now I've got more yarn. I can't say that my stash is as big as yours. I've got just few boxes hidden there and here and in different places in my house. I don't have like studio for myself or like space. So normally I buy sweater quantity yarn because this is what I love making most. I've got very few single skeins, probably for socks, which I don't make often. It's not my favorite. And a bit of budget-friendly yarn for kids.
But when you buy sweater quantity, do you buy sweater quantity for yourself or sweater quantity for the?
Yes, for myself. Yeah.
So I notice also you like from time to time you'll do some matching outfits and you'll model them together with your daughters.
Yeah.
Is that like by design that you want to have matching clothes?
Yes, sometimes it's led by design. Sometimes it's led, like you said, audience demand for if I create something for kids and there are some people who want this in adult size. So it's some kind of inspiration to make a like family look. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes my kids saying to me, "Oh, you have to need this for family look photos." Okay, why not?
Well, the name of your company is Vitalina Craft, and you told me that it's your name and your husband's name combined.
Yeah.
What's his role in your knitwear design business? How is he supporting you?
I would say his role quite big. He he's responsible for most of photography. He helps me with uploading patterns, for example, on Etsy. He helps to print out patterns for eBay. And the most important part, he take over on all accounting stuff.
Yeah.
He's very organized person, so yeah, he helps a lot. And sometimes I ask him for advice with like help with, do you like this stitch, or what do you think about this design? It's not, he's not always helpful in this way, but sometimes yes. Yeah.
I actually find it ironic because every time I run some color combination by my husband, he would like have this look that like, are you sure those colors go together? And then he's like, you have a vision, you just go with it, because like I can never see it, but somehow like what it's gonna look like finished, and somehow it's gonna look spectacular, so just do you.
I'm not good at color combination, which is why most of my designs made just with one color. But actually, I had one case when my husband agreed that for me to design cardigan for himself, and he actually helped me to choose stitches for it.
Mm-hmm.
At the moment I'm talking about gear cardigan, he had a view how he wants it to look and help with stitches. Yes, I knitted probably 5 or 6 different swatches, and he said this combination is good. So I followed his advice, and actually this pattern is quite popular.
How many patterns do you work on at the same time?
It depends from many factors, I would say. At the moment, for example, I've got 4 open test knits, which is, I think it's a bit crazy. This is not typical situation, but I think I've got projects on different stages of readiness. Because sometimes I've got inspiration to an idea of some design which I need to complete quickly. In case I still remember it, I want to see if this yarn looks for this. And then it's when time comes to write the pattern, I just have to sit down and make this pattern. For example, recently I completed 2 summer tops, which is, it's normal for me to knit something for summer in February, but I've just done it, and now those tops waiting for patterns while I'm working on other designs, a few on test knit stage, and yes, and one in process. Yeah.
When you think about your design, what's the favorite part of designing, and what's least favorite part of designing for you?
Least favorite, when I've got an idea but it doesn't work, or I've got a lovely yarn and I can't find proper stitch for it. For example, I've got idea of design, I've got yarn, but it doesn't work. Sometimes it takes me about few weeks and probably few skeins of yarn to make swatches and try different stitches. I can easily make a scarf out of those swatches,
Right.
yeah. most favorite, I think most favorite when I see the result. When I on final stage of seeing the project and I can see that, okay, it looks nice. Yeah, and I'm happy, yeah.
How do you find those testers? Like, what are you looking in a tester?
You mean test knitters?
Yeah, like who would make an ideal test knitter for you?
Ideal test knitter, I think the person who is very good at catching details and probably not very experienced because they ask a lot of questions and help to improve patterns so it's as clear as possible. Maybe even some people from other countries because they read the pattern different way.
Interesting.
And they need more details to understand the process and how to make garment. Yeah.
Well, you are on eBay, you are on Etsy, on Ravelry, on Lovecraft, like everywhere. You have
Everywhere.
2 Facebook groups, you're on Instagram. Why? Like, why are you everywhere?
Because everybody is everywhere, I guess. Honestly speaking, audience in all those platforms is different.
Mhm.
Also, I'm on eBay for UK knitters who have no access to printer and who is not so well with technologies because as I started as a children designer, there is a big part of my audience who are grandmothers who knit for their grandkids. So they are not as good as in technology. They are not on Ravelry, they are not on Etsy, but they love printed patterns and they buy them from eBay. So which is why I'm there. Why I'm on Etsy and other, because people looking for patterns there.
What do you think is like your most successful platform? Where do you get most of your customers from?
I think it's Ravelry and Etsy. I think, yeah.
Are you ever like surprised by your commercial success? Because like I see some patterns with like hundreds projects in it. So does that surprise you that like your patterns are doing so well?
I'm not sure that all my patterns doing so well. I would say that I've got few popular designs which people keep knitting, but I've got quite many of them which sold just few times. So yes, I'm surprised when people buy my patterns, when they like my designs. I'm surprised and I am very thankful for this. Yeah.
How do you deal
Because
with the disappointment of pattern that's not performing so well? Like after you spend all this time knitting it, swatching it, writing down the pattern, testing it, and then it doesn't sell well. How do you deal with that disappointment?
I think it's part of the way. Sometimes I feel very sad about this because it takes quite long time. For example, this poncho here, it's quite beautiful, I would say, but I think it's a bit complicated for many knitters. I was surprised. I had a hope for this, that it would sell, because I take quite long time to create it and make it different from other designs. It has very interesting shape and color with it's asymmetrical, cable combination plus textured stitches plus a lot of things. But no, it's not popular. I don't know why. I feel a bit sad about this. But what can I do?
What's your
I don't know.
approach to marketing? Like when you think about marketing, what's your way of thinking?
This is the hardest part, probably. I'm not very good at marketing. I try to to tell about my designs in Instagram, in Facebook, and I've got a newsletter which is not very regular because of a lot of different things around in my life. But I don't know. This is the hardest probably question to reply.
When you look at yourself, like when you first started that first pattern that you published and you are today, how do you think knitting changed you as a person?
I think I'm more patient because with knitting, you need something and you unravel something because something goes wrong. So you need build up this patience, stay calm, and like develop. It helps develop some skills, be more creative, learn something new. So much more different subjects, and I don't know.
Have you ever taken the formal knitting class?
No. I live in quite a small town. We don't have local yarn stores. I think there is just only one in the market. And I've heard about one knitting group, but I never been there. And I don't know any other knitters around as well. So, no, I had no chance. I would like probably maybe something about new techniques which I don't know, like color knitting, for example, maybe brioche. I tried it once, but I'm not as good as I want to be.
Okay.
Maybe spinning as well, and yarn dyeing. Yeah, there are many different things that I would be interested to try.
You have two groups on Facebook. What do you get out of it? What's your relationship with social media?
We are friends, or maybe not friends. It's quite difficult because it's quite all social media is like very fast approaching way. It's something like you post something and it disappears somewhere. I've got small two groups, one big, which is knitting community, and there are a lot of different knitters and designers and yarn dyers, and I've got one small group where people talking about my designs, and it's quite friendly and interesting. Yeah, I'm happy when people knit my designs and share actually process and what they made. Also, it's very good to see how people see your designs because they are sometimes more brave to try different fibers and colors or colors combination. For example, if I go for some neutral color, people can use a few bright shades and design look totally different but very beautiful. This is what my test knitters do as well.
When you see those test knitters versions of your design, do you ever look at it and think, oh my God, I should have done it in that color? Like, why didn't I use that?
Yes, quite often I've got this feeling, yeah.
Yeah. So what's in the plans? Like, how far ahead are you planning? Do you think about this whole year? Like, do you have it pre-planned?
No. At the moment, I think I plan for summer, and probably I've got few ideas for autumn and winter, but not many. I'm sure they will change. I don't plan far ahead because my main role now, mom of those 3 kids, and I can't plan a lot with them. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite design, something that you maybe did years ago, but it's still like when you think about like what design you would want people to find, that would be that one?
I think my ponchos. I like most of them, adult and child ponchos. I think ponchos, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for being my guest today. I hope I'm gonna get to meet you someday in real life, and I'm
Oh,
sure
I hope
it would
to.
be like super fun.
Sorry, I've got a dream. Maybe one day I can visit Vogue Knitting Live and meet you there. It
Oh,
would be
please
nice.
do come. That would be so much fun. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I hope. I really hope. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put all the information about how people can find you, your Facebook group, your Etsy store, your Ravelry, and all the places where you are in the description of these videos. Guys, please follow, subscribe, give Tatsiana a follow on Instagram, and let us know if you like her patterns and which one you want to knit next. And
thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
thank you.
Thank you.